Hi everyone, this is Reverend Libby. Welcome to chapel in January and welcome back to school. I hope you're having a good beginning to 2021. Our story today continues. It's the story of Christmas and the baby Jesus and the Magi, who you know came from far away. And today we're going to find out what happens to them next. But first, I invite you to quiet your mind and your body to be ready to listen to the story. Think about your head and your shoulders and your legs and your toes and invite them all to quiet down and be restful. Close your eyes and take a couple of deep breaths in and out. 1, 2, 3. And open your eyes, and we can begin. Last week, we finished the Christmas story and started the story of the three kings. Do you remember who all of the characters in the story are? Remember Mother Mary. Remember Jesus' father, Joseph. And here's the baby Jesus lying in a manger. Now those three kings were from far away. This family lived in Bethlehem, but the three kings came from lands where there was a different language, different customs. They wore very different clothing, very fancy cloaks. They had different animals and a different lifestyle. Unlike Mary and Joseph and the shepherds, the three kings were very wealthy. They had a lot of money and gold and jewels. This week I've brought one crown to symbolize those three wise men coming to see the baby Jesus. The Gospel of Matthew tells the story this way. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. On entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. Then, opening their treasure gifts, they offered him gold, frankincense, and myrrh. The kings worshipped baby Jesus and brought him gifts. But then what happened? Well, then it was time for the wise men to go home. Dr. Bridgewater mentioned that there was a sad part of this story, and there is. There was a king named Herod who heard about baby Jesus and heard that he might grow up to be a powerful king. We know that's not at all the kind of king that baby Jesus would become. Not a king with gold and jewels, but a different kind of king. But Herod didn't understand this part of the story, and so he became frightened, and then he became angry and afraid, so afraid that he hurt many people in and around Bethlehem, and some of them even died. This is the sad part of our story today. And we know that sad things like this happen sometimes in our world. If you think of that baby child, that holy child, Jesus, though, we know that he was safe during this time with his mother and father. They went away to the country of Egypt. And that way, Jesus would grow up and be able to teach his disciples and all of us about that real king that he would become. Not a king with gold and jewels and money, but a king with better and greater powers of love and peace and justice. I always wondered why there are wise men in this story. Why did the wise men come, and what does it mean? Those of us who love the Christmas story believe that the characters in that story are symbols. They teach us important things about the baby Jesus. The shepherds, for example, who came from their fields, were symbols of the fact that they were the very first people to see the Holy Child, and they were not very important in the world. They took care of animals during the day, and they were very poor. But the angels pointed them to the baby Jesus first, before anyone else. They were important to Jesus. And the wise men in our story also can be symbols. They also can teach us something about Jesus. The Gospel of Matthew says that the wise men left for their country by another road. They took their animals and their bags and their crown, and they went home. In other words, after the wise men had seen their epiphany, our name for this season, after they had seen the great showing of Jesus, they went home, back to their own country, far away. And they shared their story of Jesus, their epiphany, with everyone around them, just like we can do now. And that, for me, is the most important lesson about the three kings. I have one more thing to show you. Today, for chapel, I brought my great big atlas of the world. It has maps of all the countries and nations of the world, all the oceans and mountains, the North Pole and the South Pole. And I brought it to let you know that the story of Jesus has spread around our globe. And not just in one or two places, but everywhere. For example, this page shows the countries of Spain and Portugal. And the story of Jesus is there. This page shows a picture of the Middle East, near where Jesus lived. And you may remember the Nile, the River Nile that flows into the Mediterranean Sea. You may have studied some of these countries and nations in your classes. Finally, I wonder if all of this looks familiar to you. This is the Great Pacific Ocean, with Japan up here in the corner, with a little bit of Australia down there, the beautiful islands of the Pacific, and here's Hawaii, our island home. The story of Jesus, the epiphany that the three kings experienced, has been shared all over the world, including right here. I hope in the days to come that you'll share your epiphany story with those that you know. I hope you have a wonderful day. God bless you. Amen.